If you like me and enjoy the Nintendo Switch, you know that the ergonomics of Nintendo's hybrid console are not the best. And that's when gamepads like the Nyxi Wizard come in, to improve or even solve this problem once and for all. Today, I will show you if this one is worth it. Welcome to the Oasis. I thank Nyxi for sending this controller for review, but as always, no one from the company saw or approved this video before it went live. The opinions here are mine and mine alone. For the quick unboxing, in the box we have the gamepad, the manual, 2 additional analog stick rings, which we'll talk about in a moment, and a USB-A to USB-C cable. We have 4 classic color options for the Nyxi Wizard, but personally I like the purple one, which is quite nostalgic for me, reminding me of the Nintendo GameCube I had. This gamepad can be purchased directly from Nyxi's website, and I left the link in the description for you. And if you made this far, feel free to leave a like, and a subscribe to the channel would be amazing. Much obliged. First impressions, I think Confort is what stands out the most here. It's very comfortable to hold, whether you have small, medium or large hands. I think comfort is guaranteed. The analog sticks use magnetic Hall sensors, which theoretically are drift-proof, and they are very smooth. I'm not sure why, but it seems to me that the left one is a little softer than the right one. These rings here can be swapped for those we saw in the unboxing. Simply twist counterclockwise and pull the analog stick. Pick up the other one. First, you fit the analog stick and then align these 2 ends with these 2 dots here. So I inserted the analog stick, press it to secure it, then align the 2 ends until they click. Now simply twist clockwise to align the 2 lines with the dots. The circular one is to be used with most games, and the octagonal one is more for fighting games to help you execute moves. The D-pad is quite strange. It's clicky but feels a bit stiff, with a very short travel. Short travel on a D-pad is an unorthodox choice, and because of that, I found it a bit difficult to get used to. It felt like I had to apply more force to register the command, but that's not true. The slightest movement I make, it works. Despite the rough first impression, it's excellent. First, we don't have issues with false diagonals. The character moves in place but doesn't walk, as it should be. I really have to push to one of the sides for the character to start walking. Second, because it's completely smooth, it doesn't scrape your fingers in fighting games. The inputs register beautifully. The face buttons are arranged in the same layout as the GameCube gamepad, which can be a bit confusing if you're used to the original Joy-Cons. But for me, it only took a few minutes and I was already enjoying the games without major issues. They light up when the gamepad is on, which helps when playing in the dark. What's cool is that you can even adjust intensity. Just press the turbo button and hold the right analog stick for a few seconds to dim the brightness. And if you want to turn it off completely, just press the turbo and double-click the analog stick. These buttons have a medium travel and, when pressed, sit above the casing's level. Except for the A button. This one sits flush with it. They're comfortable to play with, but a bit noisy. The shoulder buttons are clicky, including the ZL and ZR triggers. Unfortunately, we don't have pressure-sensitive triggers, which is a shame. It's not a major issue if you're used to the original Joy-Cons, because they don't have it either, but I think it's a missed opportunity here. Being clicky, they have a very short travel for a super quick response. Regarding size, I have it here next to the GameCube controller. Here, next to the FlyDigi Direwolf 2, which is the same size of an Xbox controller. And if you're not familiar with it, I recommend checking out my review here on the channel. It's a great controller and also compatible with the Nintendo Switch. Now connected to the Switch OLED compared to the Steam Deck OLED. In terms of weight, it's 240 grams or 8.46 ounces. The FlyDigi Direwolf 2 is a bit lighter at 215 grams or 7.58 ounces. Now with the Nintendo Switch OLED, it weighs about 538 grams or 18.9 ounces. In comparison, the Steam Deck OLED weighs about 645 grams or 22.7 ounces. As for build quality, I have nothing to complain about. Both the buttons and the casing fit together very well, and the plastic doesn't have any rough edges or leftover seams. The casing is matte, which reduces fingerprint marks, but I can still see one or two there. But it's really not that bad. I've seen much worse. In terms of ergonomics, as I mentioned, I think it's one of the strong points of this gamepad. I spent quite a bit of time playing Zelda and I didn't experience any discomfort. Amongst these unofficial gamepads, it's definitely the most comfortable I've had the pleasure to play with. In terms of comfort, it's a huge upgrade compared to the Nintendo's Joy-Cons. On the front, besides the plus, minus, capture and home, we have two buttons on each side with these gears, called profile buttons. And down here, two turbos. These are used to map the rear buttons. That's right, we have two additional on the back called FL and FR. Any button on the left side of the gamepad can be mapped to FL, and any button on the right side can be mapped to FR. To do this, just press profile, a blue light will start blinking up here. Click the button you want to map, like B for example, then press the profile again. The blue light will stay on and it only blinks when I use the rear button. It's really simple and easy to set up, and if you want to clear the configuration you made, just press both profile buttons for 3 seconds. The light turned white and it can be mapped again. And even turbo, it's super easy. Just press turbo and the button you want. The truth is, this gamepad is packed with features. You can set up macros, adjust turbo speed, change vibration, intensity, and much more. I recommend checking the manual because everything is explained there. And one cool thing about this controller is that it has a wake-up function. Once you physically connect it to your Switch, it stays paired. So when you're sitting in front of the TV, just press the home button and it will turn on the console, allowing you to be lazy and lounge on the couch. And I took the opportunity to test the gyroscope. It works beautifully. It comes perfectly calibrated and it was super accurate in my tests. The Nyxi Wizard is currently my favorite Nintendo Switch controller to use in handheld mode, which is how I mostly use this console. It's certainly not perfect. I think a pressure-sensitive trigger is missing, especially for racing games. Despite the great D-pad that registers all my commands promptly, it could have a bit more travel and be slightly softer. And the lack of amiibo functionality could be a problem for some people. But as I said, it's still my favorite Nintendo Switch gamepad, packed with features like rear additional buttons, gyroscope, turbo, vibration, macros, hall sensor, analog sticks, and ergonomics that outshines Nintendo's Joy-Cons and many other controllers out there. For me, there's nothing more comfortable for the Nintendo Switch right now. But before you go, check out this video. Before that, like, subscribe, and follow us.